In this video, I'll be sharing with you a requested tutorial from my group on how to cut this stylish deep basque waistline corset mermaid dress. And this dress is from Gourmet Salon on Instagram. So if this is something you like, kindly hit on the subscribe button. So for this dress, there are two ways to cut it. You can cut it in form of a dartless pattern or cut it with this method. First, we are going to work on the upper part, which is the shoulder to bust, under bust and waist. So now I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2. After marking that, I'm going to come down by 1 inch from my shoulder. The next step is to go ahead to mark out a basic neckline of 3 inches. After that, I'll place my ruler and I'll connect. Now the next step is to find your chest line, and to do that is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. I'll rule a straight line there. I'll place back my tape and I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2. Now after marking that, I'll place my ruler, connect this all the way up. I'll place my ruler and I'll divide what I have here into 2 equal parts, come in by ½ inch. Here I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. From the midpoint I'll connect up, and from there I'll connect down. After I'm done connecting, the next step I'll take is to mark my dart. I'll start by marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5. I marked on the bust, under bust and waist. Now, after I'm done marking this, I'm going to go ahead to mark a dart intake on both sides. I'll be using 1 inch. If you're a plus size or you're a bit busty, please go ahead to use 1.5 inches on both sides, and I'll draw out a straight line. Now after I'm done marking this, I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to connect this all the way to the under bust, and also repeat this at the other side of my pattern. Now after I'm done connecting, now you want to consider where you want your neckline to be. You can measure from the shoulder or you can decide from your chest line. So I'm just using 1.5 inches above my chest line, which is approximately -6 from my shoulder, or -6.5. Now I'll place back and mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2, place my ruler and I'll go ahead to connect. Now I'll mark 1 inch on both sides of my pattern, and I'm going to connect this all the way to the bust of my pattern on both sides. After connecting, I'll go ahead to connect the other side of my pattern. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll outline my pattern to make it very visible for you to see. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Then, for the dart intake, I'm going to pick this dart, the chest line, or that is close to the chest line, because I don't want to have an excess allowance by the side of my pattern. Then I'll add my sewing allowance. Use any sewing allowance of your choice. Now, I'm going to mark my under bust circumference divided by 4, measure this dart intake, replace and add a sewing allowance. Here, I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake and add my sewing allowance. Now, go ahead to add any sewing allowance of your choice. This corset has a zipper at the side, so it's not like a lacing bar that you're trying to reduce or snatch the waistline. Now I'll mark my bust dart. To get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. My shoulder to waist in front is 17, while my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5. Now, if I take out 15.5 from 17, it will give me 1.5. That is how I got my bust dart. Now, from my chest line, I'm going to come in by ½ inch for my cup bridge. Now I'll place my ruler and I will connect. I'll be connecting my cup to the under bust of my pattern. This is to go ahead to get the corset, the cup's corset area of this pattern. Now, just like I said, there are two ways to draft this pattern, where you can draft as a dartless pattern, use your already made cup to achieve the corset part of this pattern. Now I'm going to connect from here to this point. What we have, the neckline is not so deep. Now after connecting, to work on the other side, I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 and add half. Now if you're working for someone that has body or on the plus size, please add 1 inch for it to accommodate the bust. Now I'll connect this. I'll go ahead and use my marker to outline it to make it more visible for you to see. Now after I'm done outlining, I'll go ahead to cut out this pattern. Blend in your darts when you're cutting it, and we're done with the upper part. Now we'll be joining this part to the lower part of the corset to get the full mermaid skirt effect. So any sewing allowance you use for the upper part, please use the same for the lower part of this dress. Now you can also see that I cut out my dart and I blended it out, and I'll go ahead to cut out this cup area. Then we'll move over to drafting the rest of the pattern. So if you have any question regarding this particular tutorial, please go ahead to ask. So after cutting this, I'm going to merge up the body of the corset as one piece, because you'll be connecting it back to the lower part of your dress to create that mermaid effect. So this is what I have here. Now measure whatever you have on the waistline of this upper part. It should rhyme with the waistline of the lower part of this dress. Now let's go over to draft the back first. So I've marked out the zipper allowance. I marked the shoulder divided by 2. I marked the chest line. Now I marked my shoulder to bust and shoulder to waist. Remember, the shoulder to waist at the back is shorter if you're using a bust dart technique, just like I'm doing. Now after marking this, the next step you're going to take is to go ahead to start marking out your darts. For the dart, I'm marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2 first. Go ahead to place the ruler and draw a straight line at this point. After marking, mark ½ inch at the waistline of your pattern, and I'm going to connect this all the way up, sorry. And after connecting, I'll start inserting my measurement. I'll mark the bust circumference divided by 4, then add my sewing allowance. Mark the waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and add my sewing allowance. Now I'll place my ruler to connect. So this is basically what I have here, and I'm going to go ahead to cut out the upper part of this pattern. But before doing that, I'll go ahead to cut out the zipper bulge, which I marked ½ inch at the waistline and I extended. Now I'll go ahead to cut out the rest of my pattern. Now for this dart at the back, I'll go ahead to blend it out so that it will be easier for me to cut the lower part of the skirt pattern. Remember, I'll still place this to the lower part. Now let's go ahead to draft out the skirt. Now for this skirt, I won't be drafting my full actual measurement. I'll just reduce my measurement a bit. Now from the waistline, measure from your waist to the remaining part of your skirt what you have. So I'll place my tape at the top and I'll mark as waist. Sorry, that part is not really showing my. So I'll place my tape and mark 7 inches, which will serve as the hip, and I'll draw out a straight line there. After marking that, I'll label it. The next step is to get your waist to knee point. So get your waist to knee point and you're going to mark. Now after marking that line, mark 2 inches above it. This is where the mermaid skirt effect will start. That way it will make your skirt to be fitted at the upper part, and then from there you have the flowy effect to the lower part. Now after I'm done marking this, I'm just going to go ahead to label it as 2 inches, and also the lower part will be the knee. Now mark your waist circumference divided by 4. The same dart intake you used for the upper part, use it for the waist. Now at the hip, I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and I'll go ahead to add my sewing allowance. Now after I'm done marking that, I'll place my ruler to connect. The next step I'll take is measure whatever you have here. If you want to have that fitted effect on that skirt that way, minus 2 inches from it and mark. But if you want to have a fitted mermaid skirt effect that is not too tight on the knee area, minus 1.5 inches from what you have on the knee and transfer it to that 2 inches we came up, that is close towards the knee part of this dress. So what we have on this dress is actually very fitted, so I took out 2 inches from that measurement and I marked. So please, if you're not okay with it, go ahead to deduct just 1.5. So from this point now, I'll go ahead to measure the full length of my skirt. So let's take this as the full length of my skirt. I'll go ahead to draw a straight line all the way up. So after I'm done marking this now, I'm going to go ahead to blend this all the way going down to the lower part of my skirt. Now to fold your skirt, I forgot to mention, you can fold it by 18 inches. That is 18 inches on fold, giving you like 36 if you open it up. Now I will just go ahead to outline this. Now the next step I'll take is from my waistline, I'll come down by 3 inches. And from that 3 inches, I'll now draw out this design all the way going down. So this design is towards the knee, right? It did not really extend after the knee line. And I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out. Now if you look at the thumbnail at the picture at the beginning of the dress at the beginning, you know one has like a ruffle towards the ankara while the other is plain. Now we are going for the plain design. Now I'll go ahead to outline this. After I'm done outlining, I'm going to just cut out the part I don't need. After cutting this, I'll be merging the upper part and the lower part together, and this is how the gown was gotten, right? So another method is just like drafting your mermaid skirt with your mermaid dress without that, any form of that. Now you now use an already made cup placed at the upper part and draw out a cup, right? So I taped it together, so I'm meant to cut this out, but I'm just going to keep it aside and I'll use it to cut the back before going ahead to cut it out. So before cutting that out, I'll go ahead to fold it in this way. Now I'll bring another pattern paper and I'll place, right? I had to just join the end so that I'll get the full, so that I'll be able to cut out that full mermaid skirt that has string. In front of this skirt, I'm going to add like a zipper allowance for the back skirt. Now I'll now trace out the sides of the skirt going down all the way to the lower part of this skirt. After tracing this out, I'm going to use it to like cut out the back pattern of this skirt. Now for the train part of this dress, this totally depends on the extension you want. So I'm just adding this to show that there's an extension there. Now you're going to determine how long you want it to be, and from here I'll connect also. Now you also want to determine how long you want the lower part, the train at the lower part to be. Now what I'll do is to go ahead to cut it out. After cutting it out, that is after you're done connecting your skirt, I'm now going to join the back pattern to that of the upper part, that is the lower part of the skirt to the upper part. So this is what I have, right? Now I'm now going to go ahead to come down by 3 inches by this side, but before doing that, I'll place the front pattern on it and mark so that I'll make sure that what I have there rhymes with the other one. Now I'll place my tape and measure about 8 inches, and I will now connect this going towards this side. So this is what the back pattern looks like, right? Now after that, I'll go ahead to outline, and this part now will be joining the upper part of the back of this dress. While cutting, make sure that your waist measurement is the exact measurement and you use the same dart. So now from here, I'll mark ½ inch and blend it out. This is like getting rid of the bulginess at the back of the skirt zipper. Now What I'll now do is to go ahead to trace this out, and after tracing it out, join the upper part together. So this is for the back, this is the upper part, and this is the lower part of the back pattern. Right now, let's move over to the front. So let me do like an explanation. Let's say that this is your pattern without being cut out, and let's say that you drafted this pattern without a dart. This is how to like draft the second method. All you have to do is, after cutting your shoulder, your chest line, your bust line, your waist, your hip, drawing out your mermaid skirt, all you have to do is to go ahead to place an already made cup and cut out the upper part, and now trace out from the, come down by 3 inches from the waistline and draw a deep basque. Right, if you don't want to go through the process of drafting this, so if you're looking for a simple way out, that is how to achieve this with the second method. I'll just go ahead and I will cut out this part, and then you now rejoin it to the upper part of this pattern. So then go ahead to fix the cup and sleeve at the upper part of the pattern.